Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe. If you dare.
I decided to fake like I was about to throw up. The crowd parted for me like I was Moses. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. What is a mind trick you know of?
Number 1.
Commenter. Learned this one secondhand from a smuggler. People tend to notice things they're looking for, and once they don't find it, or even better, they do find it, they ignore everything else. So if you want to slip something by someone, make sure they catch you on something that doesn't matter, and they won't focus on what you're hiding. The story behind this is that in Berlin, while the wall was up, there was this smuggler who used to ride, every day, from East Berlin into West Berlin, or perhaps it was vice versa, I don't remember, with a bag of sand on the back of his bicycle. Every time, the checkpoint guards would cut open the bag of sand, search through it, find nothing, and let him go on his way. And every night he would return. They never realized that he was smuggling bicycles. Person B. I once managed to smuggle not one, but 2 pairs of nunchucks into my country by doing a very similar thing. I hid them in the bottom of my suitcase, and when I got to customs, I declared a tiny jar of sugar syrup. They looked at it, shrugged, and let me through without even bothering to check the rest of my luggage. Nunchucks.
Number 2.
Commenter. Whenever you are negotiating, it takes very long pauses before you ask questions. It makes people vomit the truth. Person B. This also works if you think people aren't being honest, or you don't understand something and need it explained further without looking like an idiot. Makes them think they are explaining it poorly when you're just a moron. Person C. If you don't think that you have a decent shot at a negotiation, do it through writing, text message, email, etc., and tell him that you'll pay $X. He will tell you to talk to him on the phone or person, try to make you feel like it's ridiculous or give a higher offer. Be very honest with him and explain why that's all that you can pay, and put the savings in your effing savings account. X equals what it's worth to you, or what a legitimate source says it's worth, whichever is lower. If it's possible to get it at that price, we'll get it. Person D. As a car salesman, I will say this is a very effective counter to negotiating with a professional negotiator. Most negotiation tricks are based on nonverbal clues, including pauses between words if it's on the phone. Without seeing you in person, or at least talking to you on the phone, the salesman loses the majority of his skill advantage. There are tactics to counter this for especially skilled and experienced salesmen, presenting you with other, more attractive options that make them more money, and begging your reward center for your own good negotiating tactics, as well as appealing to the need versus want. But it still gives the customer the largest upper hand. Internet-based salespersons typically have the highest close rate but lowest gross profit. In other words, they tend to take lower deals, but make sure they get it for you no matter what.
Number 3.
Commenter. In class, if it's a presentation where someone has to present without looking at notes or anything like that, and while they're up in front of the classroom presenting, some people forget what they're talking about, space out, freak out, and lose their train of thought. To counter this, nod your head at the end of each sentence they say, confirming what they're saying. They will somehow use this as a motivator, and 9 times out of 10 will keep presenting without fault. Person B. This is equally good in a professional setting. The speaker will gravitate towards presenting at you, building surprisingly significant rapport between you and a potentially useful contact, as well as just helping someone do well in a stressful situation. Many instructors who lecture also appreciate this kind of feedback/affirmation, and again it will help establish rapport with them. I just had my Cisco instructor tell me what a pleasure it was to have in his class, and I think this was a large part of it. Instructors you leave a strong impression on can be great professional contacts or good references down the road.
Number 4.
If you're in a crowded social group, restaurant, bar, party, etc., and you want to know if someone is checking you out, try this. Turn sideways from them. They will be either 90 degrees right or left of you, then very obviously look at your watch. Even if you don't wear one, lift your wrist, then point at your watch and nod thoughtfully. Overacting is perfectly acceptable. If they are keeping tabs on you, even peripherally, they will have a sudden urge to know the time, and will either look at their own watch, cell phone, or casually look at the various obvious places where someone would put a clock.
Number 5.
As a waiter, I always heard people saying, "Hey, that's what I was going to order." So if you're at a restaurant with 3 other friends and one of your friends orders the sea bass but that's what you wanted too, you'll think about ordering something else and perhaps even change your order. Here's why people like variety, which means they're willing to sacrifice their first choice just to have it on the table. Don't be fooled though, order what you wanted in the first place. You'll end up enjoying it more.
Number 6.
I hypnotized myself into quitting smoking. Every time I had the impulse to light up, I simply told myself, what a strange thing for a non-smoker to think. Eventually I convinced myself that the cravings were anomalous and could safely be ignored.
Number 7.
Commenter. I was at the front row of a concert and needed to get out mid-show. No one was letting me by. I decided to fake like I was about to throw up. The crowd parted for me like I was Moses. Worked all the way through the crowd. Not one person stood in my way for more than a second. When I got out, I just walked normally, troll face. Person B. Another music festival crowd trick: find a cup on the ground, or use one you have, and hold it high in the air as if it is full. Walk in or out of a crowd with the cup in the air leading the way as if it is full, and they will part, avoiding possible spillage.
Number 8.
The door in the face technique. The general idea is that you ask someone for a huge favor which you're relatively confident they'll say no to. Then you ask them for a small favor. Subjects who initially refuse the huge favor have a much higher compliance rate on the small favor than if you just ask directly for the small favor or if you present both at once. If they end up saying yes to the huge favor, that's also good.
Number 9.
Commenter. I'm a paramedic. When a patient is possibly faking unconsciousness, we have 2 tricks to determine if they're really unconscious or not. First, you can lightly brush their eyelashes with your finger. Their eyes will flutter if they're faking it. Alternatively, if they're on their back, you can lift their arm over their face and let it go. A conscious person will drop their arm away from their face. Finally, a trick to see if someone is faking a neck injury or neck pain. Put a thermometer in their mouth while checking their vitals, then ask them a yes or no question while looking them in the eyes. If you aren't looking directly at them, they tend to answer with a strained aha or unha, but if you're looking directly at them, they will usually nod their head. Someone who is faking the pain can do this with ease. Person B. There are all kinds of fun little tricks like this in medicine. In pediatrics, kids often complain of stomach pain, some visceral, some peritoneal, and some faking. Press on his stomach for tenderness, and all 3 will tell you it hurts. So we get the kid to jump down. Any kid loves to show you how high he can jump, but the ones with genuine acute abdomen can't do it. Person C. The sternum rub works really well too. Take your knuckles and just grate them up and down the sternum very forcefully. If they're faking, they'll absolutely respond. Probably wouldn't try this on an elderly person. They're too brittle.
Number 10.
If you're trying to find something, try looking right to left as opposed to left to right. Your eyes tend to skim over things if you search in the direction you are used to reading in, so skim the opposite way. It takes me a bit more effort to do this, but I notice more details.
Number 11.
Commenter. When talking to someone, if you copy their posture, they will subconsciously perceive you as a friendlier person. Person B. In the same vein, if you take note of small things someone does, scratching forehead, glancing left, putting their hand in their pocket, etc., and imitating those actions 30 seconds to a minute later, they will trust you more. The key is to not do it so soon after that they realize you're copying them.
Number 12.
Commenter. If I need to remember to do anything at all the next day, I will put something in my room out of place. This works every time. Say for example, I really want to remember to email my professor before leaving for class. I will put a movie on the floor. I will initially think, why is that? Oh right, email Arnie. A key technique for me. Person B. Along the same lines, if you ever need to remember to bring something with you next time you leave your house, put your keys on / in it. That way it's the last thing you do before you go out the door and can't forget the thing. Person C. Also, I usually put something somewhere to block my path. Like place something in front of my bedroom door that gets knocked over if I open the door without seeing it. Lately I've been forgetting to bring my textbook to a class I'm taking. So I stand the book up in front of my door before I go to bed.
Number 13.
Commenter. If you ask a question, and receive only a partial answer, respond with polite silence. Simply wait. A more complete answer will usually follow. Person B. I used to run training courses, which work far better if there's good group participation. To get participation, early on, ask a decent open question. Then wait. Then continue to wait. Eventually everyone feels awkward, there may be giggling. Continue to wait. If necessary, say I've got all day. And wait some more. By the time someone answers, everyone in the room will have thought up an answer of their own, thus engaging with what you're doing even if they didn't intend to. Go from there. It's also a good way to get rid of nerves if talking to a group. Start talking slowly and measured. Leave a pause slightly longer than comfortable. From that point on, your audience are more nervous than you.
Number 14.
When trying to convince somebody to do something, offer them two options, either of which is okay with you. Humans have a hard time selecting outside of the given options. Example, so, did you want me to pick you up at 7 o'clock or 7:30? Did you want me to pick up the $50 one or the $35 one? Etc.
Number 15.
I live in inner city Akron, Ohio. Needless to say, there is a pretty high crime rate around the university center. So I took a self-defense course at the university and learned the best self-defense tricks I could have never thought of. Act crazier than the person attacking you. I'm talking about a mental patient on PCP with a bad case of Jack Nicholson insane. 9 times out of 10 they will see you as unpredictable and not want to even mess with you. For example, I was across the street from my apartment at a Circle K buying a 40 and a pack of smokes at about midnight 30, and this guy comes up from nowhere and asks me if I want to make some money. I reply, no thanks, I have a job. The clerk behind the window disappears to get my stuff and I'm stuck outside in the open standing right next to what amounts to a drug-selling would-be burglar. After a while the silence and tension gets unbearable and I ask him what his proposed opportunity entails. Just then the clerk comes back, gives me my stuff, and shouts out the window, "Yo, what's up, Fennel?" Or something along those lines. The shady guy shakes his head and starts to walk away. I pay for my stuff, start walking under the lights along the white wall of the building so I can be seen in case anything happens, and I see to my left that this shady guy is following me, walking parallel to me in the parking lot where it's dark. He calls over to me and starts walking towards me. I'm all like nope, so I curve my arms up so my hands are in my armpits and I crouch down with a wide stance and walk sideways in a crab walk / gorilla style fashion and start screaming obscenities about aliens and Arabic coffee. The guy takes one look at me and makes a run for the bus stop. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.